Chapter 9.3 Notes, Double Angle, Half Angle, and Reduction Formulas. This is page 5 of the notes, the final page. We do have an application problem. Okay, so I'm assuming you've read through this. We've got a bicycle ramp with an angle of theta. We want to construct another ramp that is half as steep, so we want half the angle. So we're looking for a tangent half angle. And I say that because they tell us the tangent of the original angle is 5/3. So I'm going to start by drawing the triangle. If I want to use the tangent half angle formula, I'm going to need cosine. Super exciting watching me draw the triangles, I'm sure. So if this is my theta, here's my ramp. My tangent is opposite over adjacent. I want to find r. I get 3 squared plus 5 squared equals r squared. 9 plus 25 equals r squared. R squared is 34. So my r is the square root of 34. Now, out of habit, I tend to list all 3 of the trig functions. Keep in mind, I don't really care about the sign because my tangent half angle formula just uses cosine. So my cosine here is 3 over the square root of 34. Or we rationalize that denominator, we get 3 square roots of 34 over 34. That's not making me super excited to plug into this formula, but let's go. We got tangent of theta over 2. We know that this is going to be a positive angle, right? It's a bicycle ramp. So I'm only going to worry about the positive here. I got 1 minus, here, let me just write this out once. Cosine theta over 1 plus cosine theta. 1 minus, the cosine of theta is 3 square roots of 34 over 34. That's fabulous. Looks the same in the denominator, 1 plus 3 square roots of 34 over 34. First thing I want to do is get rid of those fractions in the fractions. So I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by 34. And so 1 times 34 is 30. 4 minus, this cancels with the denominator, that's the point. I got 3 square roots of 34 over 34 plus 3 square roots of 34. And so now here's the thing, there's no way that I can rationalize this into something that's pretty. So I'm going to use the calculator to crank this out at this point. And we get 0.5662 by calculator. Okay, so our theta over 2 equals the inverse tangent of this answer. Now, to be honest with you, when I use this in the calculator, I do not chop it off at 4. If you hit the blue button, which is our second button, and you take a look down at the bottom where the negative sign is next to the decimal, and it says ANS right above it, answer, I can hit second negative and it will pull the last answer that I computed back and it will dump the entire thing in there with no rounding. Always the best way to do that if you can. Please make sure your calculator is set to degrees. An answer in radians here is not going to make a whole lot of sense. Make sure calculator is set to degrees. Boom. Yeah, and that's it. This is done. 3 sections this week and you are done with all of them.